Satya's Delhi University connect began with St. Stephen's College in 1988. Bitten by the MBA bug, the computer sciences student went on to crack the CAT to reach IIM Bangalore. Campus placement with Ranbaxy Laboratories eventually got him back to Delhi. It was a promising start to a standard corporate career. All set for life with the right credentials and a secure job. Why did he then decide to quit?
The way I looked at that part is not necessarily of quitting the corporate, but perhaps I was trying to get closer to what was ticking inside deep in my heart maybe.
What was there in your heart?
Perhaps I was looking at something where there was greater freedom, there was greater scope for creativity of the kind that I'm capable of, and somewhere these were coming in the form of two things: education or teaching and entrepreneurship. I mean, that word entrepreneurship I hadn't heard long after that, but now looking back I'm using the word entrepreneurship. So teaching and doing it in the form of an enterprise where I had all the freedom to give it the shape that I wanted was what I walked towards. Incidentally, I walked away from the corporate. So that was not, there was in fact, I had a wonderful experience at Ranbaxy. My boss was very great. He used to be very fond of me. I still have a great relationship with my team there. Okay. But I was moving towards something that was more dear to me than a job.
So that's how it all began. The urge to do something different, some thoughts, and 17,000 rupees.
Let me get this right, but it's a figure I've caught off the net. 17,000 rupees is seed capital.
Yeah, that's the super grand figure, and that included the money that I had invested to buy a computer.
Okay.
You
knew you had to buy a computer even before you started?
Yes. In fact, the first thing that I bought with my money that I saved after the first 5-6 months of working in a corporate was to buy a computer.
Okay.
And mind you, this was 94, 95, when the internet was new, and I'm sure my account would have been one of the earliest VSNL accounts in Delhi.
Okay.
So I had a computer, I had an external modem, I had a printer, and all of these I took a loan and then put some money, 4 chairs, and all of these added up to 70.
About 70. No, not too bad. Now the reason we wanted to get you here also was the other link, which is with the Delhi University, and that's right across the street. We're talking about the Sriram College of Commerce, because somehow you got there, managed to round up a bunch of kids, and that's where the first career launcher class happened.
Absolutely.
So, where did you get these children from? What did you tell them? How did you convince SRCC to give for them to give you the space out to you? Tell us about it.
That's a good question. Now I have to do a whole lot of recollections. But to recap it quickly, Delhi University had a tradition of conducting what was called as a mock CAT examination.
Okay.
And the mock CAT conducted by Kautilya Society of SRCC was the best known mock CAT.
Okay.
And when I was trying to set up Career Launcher and I was wanting to reach out to students who are very serious, and I look back and I drew upon my experience as a student of Delhi University. So I tied up with Kautilya Society and I said that I will conduct the mock CAT for you free of cost, and that used to be a cost center for them until the previous year. So I said that I will bring the question paper, I will do the free counseling by IIM alumni for all the students who do well in mock CAT, and a whole lot of other things that I threw in. And in that process, I had an opportunity to interact with the principal of SRCC at that time. Though I am an alumnus of Stevens, I found the invitation and the welcome at SRCC far more heartwarming.
Okay.
And Dr. Sancheti was the principal at the time. I think he took pity on this young entrepreneur and said, okay, why don't you conduct your classes also at SRCC? Later on we did at both places, SRCC as well as Stevens, when Dr. Anil Wilson also invited us to do classes at St. Stevens.
And that's where it all started?
Yeah, this is where it started. So in the first year we had about 75 students who came for our program called the Personality Development Program, and about 35 of them went to the IIMs.
Can I ask you how much you charged them, like the first batch of 20 students?
750 rupees.
Okay, that figure would have also changed by now. Things have changed, the years have changed. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. The first full year's turnover was 96,000 rupees.
The full year turnover, this is the year 1995, was 96,000 rupees for the firm that is Career Launcher.
That's right.
Brilliant, fantastic.
The stories went on for a while. College campuses always bring out nostalgia. especially if you go back after a long time.
Yeah.
But Career Launcher has come a long way since then, and technology has played a huge part in its exponential growth. We explored the CL journey and its Tech Connect on the other side of this break.
Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. Only on UTVI.
Hi. Don't worry, सब घर के ही हैं. Mama, Ashish.
Thank you, बेटा.
नमस्ते आंटी.
Papa.
How are you, Ashish?
Fine, sir.
Sunil भैया.
नहीं बैठिए.
Kirti भाभी.
नमस्ते.
And this is Arvind.
Arvind, I'm so glad आप यहाँ हैं.
Of course, आज कविता का खास दिन है. मुझे तो आना ही था. ये कविता के स्टॉक ब्रोकर है.
Of course. I know. Nice meeting you. All.
We don't just help you invest your money. At Nirmal Bang, it's a relationship beyond broking. Every weeknight at 7, call UTVI and get all the answers straight from the experts. Career paths. Property matters. Consumer issues. Financial advice. Or your auto queries. Just dial 409-87300 or log on to utvi.com/on-call. Every weeknight at 7, call UTVI. Infrastructure, healthcare, education, electricity, no corruption, less pollution, new development, industry support, national highways, public transport, rural development, crime control, faster justice, population control, end of terrorism, childcare, less markets, ease of bill payment, sex education, family planning, water supply, wildlife preservation, poverty removal.
This program is brought to you by Uttam Galva Steels Limited, the best that steel can be.
Next stop was the CL Test Prep Center at the Delhi University North Campus. Just seeing the place, one couldn't help but wonder how crowded this market is getting. Coaching centers mushrooming in every nook and corner, offering entrance exam training, IT skills, English exam prep, to oversee university counseling and even visa help. So how did one stand out in this market? What was CL's point of differentiation?
You know, Satya, while coming here, something quite interesting that actually caught the eye. If you just come down this road, you realize every 2-3 buildings, there is one big board or hoarding which talks about tutorial classes, coaching classes, GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, different things, you know.
Right.
It just makes one wonder. This market seems to be becoming so competitive. There is one new center opening up almost overnight in different parts of the city, in different parts of the country.
Right.
So what becomes the point of differentiation then?
Okay, that's a good question. You know, what you're saying is right, that this sector, interestingly, is very entrepreneurship friendly. You can get started by having virtually nothing. However, that itself becomes a limiting factor when it gets to a stage 2 or stage 3 of entrepreneurship. So, unlike mid-90s when Career Launcher got started, today it's not possible for anyone to come and build a 150 crore enterprise as easily as we could do, because that was at a very nascent stage. And many things were, in hindsight, one can kind of say that many things were in our favor. Today, it's not possible for an entrepreneur to do that. So the differentiation comes from having built a brand at a very minimal investments on the brand itself. Today, if somebody has to compete with a leading test prep company like CL, he has to pour in crores of rupees. Now, that's the easier part of the game. The tougher ones are, how do you attract people at the current cost levels at which you need to attract good people to come and work for you? Because anyone who you think is very good and works for you is good enough to be an entrepreneur himself. Okay? And then the technology part. The entire industry has changed from being a very mom and pop, deliver here, get up and go kind of a model, to where you need to bring standardization with uniformly high content levels, high quality of delivery that can be done only using technology.
Career Launcher was an early mover in establishing the Education and Technology Connect. And that link is playing a pivotal role in all parts of the business today. The core test prep vertical, the schools and colleges segment, rural education and even vocational training, which they undertake in partnership with governments or private companies. Classrooms like this one are supplemented with online help. Satya himself takes classes on entrepreneurship.
1 minute over.
Students can access his lectures online. This application, along with an online student information system, lets a student study, self-test and monitor his progress in a clear, quantified manner. Technology has found some very exciting applications beyond the test prep business as well. This is Nandini. She's handling the Rural Schooling Initiative at CL. The pilot consists of 10 schools in Andhra Pradesh with students hailing from weak economic backgrounds. The infrastructure isn't much. Some schools may comprise of just 1 or 2 rented rooms with the basics, but they all have a laptop and a net connection. The results seem nothing short of fascinating.
People took to it quite easily. Just simple demos. And sometimes when I look at all the emails, in fact, there's a nice little story that happens there itself. The very first email I got, the entire thing was in the subject line, because wherever the cursor was there, so write the whole thing there itself. So, and now it's so much more advanced. They're sending me pictures of what they do. They're making Excel sheets, writing reports, we do tend to make a very big deal out of training for technology. I don't think, because if you feel that it helps your productivity and it improves it, I think, you just take to it.
Another unique example is some internally developed software which simulates practical learning experiences. This virtual chemistry lab, for instance. Mix, stir, pour or test liquids, solids and gases and analyze results just as you would do in a real environment. The only thing missing perhaps is the peculiar smell or occasional sound of a beaker crashing, which is quite common in an actual lab.
Which was happened?
Then of course there are the other usual gaps which technology has managed to fill up at CL.
Can also come from
Voice over Internet Protocol or VoIP classes, online mock MBA exams and career counseling software applications which help you choose the road apt for you.
Technology is a very integral part of our CL operations, and how we see technology in our application in education services is that not about what technology in general offers, but whether it has a right kind of an applicability into the education services that we provide. So the choice of technology entirely depends on what education services are we providing.
Coming to the next 2005.
Many of these applications, along with almost the entire online and offline course content, is developed internally at labs like this one. And dedicated servers keep it all alive and buzzing in a fully interconnected CL world.
Miscellaneous laws.
The Tech Connect would be coming at a price. There are new businesses being added and the rural business would be challenging. I wanted to know how all of this is adding up in terms of numbers.
Fortunately for us, we haven't ever felt the shortage of money. Because we, other than a year or two when we might have kind of lost our grips in euphoria or when our eyes were off the ball, we have been fairly good at being frugal, growing through internal accruals, being ploughed back. Until last year, we hadn't even taken a dividend even once. So 100% of accruals were ploughed back into the business. And we always have had people knocking at our doors and saying, why don't you take money from us? And we've been able to politely tell them that when we need, we will come back to you.
I know that you're growing about 40% year on year in your top line terms, but what about profitability?
I think it's very good. It's very good. I mean, those people who follow across industries, they will be able to tell you. It's very good, and the best part is it's cash upfront. That's a great thing about education business. So many many financial analysts don't tell the real story. Here you can do all the analysis, but when you open the bank account and see where is the money, it's all in the pipeline for others. For us, that's not the case, and that's the beauty of education. Mm-hmm. So all fortunately it takes significant amount of headache of your system and makes you focus on delivering value.
At present, the test prep business is 70% of the revenues, with the vocational side being 20% and the mainline education business at a 10% share. But all these numbers are going to change very soon. So what will be the new face of Career Launcher? We find out after the break.
Across the table
and across the country.
This is the very show
that brings you up to speed
with everything that's making headlines,
from serious business to politics,
and a dose of entertainment.
With our battery of reporters
in pursuit of the big stories.
It's your daily quota of news,
served to you live.
Connect to the UTVI Newsroom, Monday to Friday, 6:30 p.m. only on UTVI.
Century Ply presents वो प्लाई जो भारत को करे बुलंद, सेलिब्रेट्स जय हो, एक धुन जिसने भारत को बनाया अपना दीवाना, जय हो, out now on Universal Music in association with Century Ply.
Even in these tough times, one business model has emerged as the most profitable and sustainable: the PSU. UTVI brings you a special panel discussion on the success mantra of the Indian public sector units. The PSU Roundtable, 11 June at the Lalit, New Delhi, in association with the Dalal Street Journal, exclusively on UTVI.
Hospitality partner, the Lalit.
Frequency is a term used by media planners to explain the number of times the audience is exposed to the message that is being communicated. Minimum of 3 is the frequency that is required. Media planners always trying to arrive at the correct level of frequency for a communication.
Business 360 coming up next on UTVI Prime.
The Indus World School of Business is the first institute of higher education set up by CL. Classes take place in a leased premises at Greater Noida right now, but work on CL's own property is on at full swing, so the school can shift into its new owned building by September this year. Satya is monitoring the progress keenly. He comes here twice a week to take lectures, and students seem to like learning from someone who leads by example.
Satya teaches us entrepreneurial and leadership. That was the main benchmark which the institute wants to set. So if that subject is being taught by the founder of CL, I mean, what better we can get?
About 40 kilometers away from Noida, the other end of the CL story is unfolding simultaneously. Rapid construction at the Indus World School, Gurgaon. This is the K-12 or schooling business of CL. 10 schools are up and running. Satya has chosen Tier 2 cities to begin with. Tier 1 expansion will happen gradually. The target is 150 schools by 2015.
So Satya, so much is happening within the group right now, and so much of change is taking place. These different verticals, the education business, your interaction with governments in the training part of it. The face remains the coaching business all these years. You see that changing? And if that's the case, then what will become the face of Career Launcher?
Yeah, Surabhi, that's a very interesting question. In the sense that the core has perhaps remained the same and would continue to remain the same. When I say that, I mean the people, the focus on core values that we really espouse with a lot of inner conviction. And the third is using technology to enable our growth by chasing access as well as excellence. So these three would remain the same, and when we try and expand, we look for alignment with new people, new partners, as far as these three factors are concerned. Now, external manifestation-wise, you're right that CL, perhaps in a few years from now, would be known more as a broadly diversified education company, which started with test prep as its first step towards success.
But you see it becoming a mainline education company. That's how it will be seen.
Yes. I think the definitions also are likely to change. But yes, it will become a company that has a very diversified portfolio. Some within the mainline education, which is schools, colleges, university, and some in the supplementary or the support parts of education, which is test preparation, vocational education, education for specific sectors, including teachers, housewives, parental education, etc. So I see these happening parallelly as we go along.
But all of this is happening at an interesting time because the economy is going through a challenge that we've never seen before. Right. So is this working to your advantage because people are expecting less, the real estate costs are lower, it's easier to rent, or is it working to a disadvantage because there is just so much of unsurety all around?
No, other than it being a short-term distraction, I don't see it having too much of an impact. Okay. When I say that, what I mean is 99 to 2001 also was an interesting period of downturn, chaos, right. .com crash, right. All of that. Right. And I think it just presents with an organization another opportunity to introspect, reinvent itself, and draw upon its own resilience, or the ability to be resilient is what get tested. So I see this as a very interesting, gateways to next orbit of growth than anything else.
The thoughts, the ideas, and the spirit of trying something new follow him right to home. Family members include wife Uma and 6-year-old daughter Anandita. With her around, the father in Satya clearly takes over.
Satya, just a question comes to mind seeing you here at home with Ananda. She's 6 now, and as you get on this path of becoming a very big name in the education space, much beyond coaching and tutoring, what have you chosen for yourself? What's your own path and the path that you look ahead for Ananda in terms of education, schooling, and how she'll progress?
I think that's an interesting question because we have, Uma and I have kind of chosen to do a little bit of experimentation there. But I think that comes out of a deep conviction that home perhaps could be the richest possible experience as a school.
Which means?
So Nandu doesn't go to a school. She stays at home and we teach her.
This is a really interesting concept. It's a very novel concept. But what happens when you move out? And you would know this better than anyone else. I mean, the competitive pressures that are out there, you have to compete. There are exams to crack. And you've been an examination cracker yourself. You always say that, you treated it as a hurdle and something that just needed to be sort of over and done with. So what happens there? Will she not face challenges? Will it not become a bit difficult?
No, on the contrary, I draw a lot of, confidence from my journey. My journey is I think it's a reasonably representative case of Indian education system where you don't have to be good to be successful. You just have to crack a few milestones. But I think somewhere what you really are very passionate about, what you think you can pursue without looking for rewards, can be the only lifelong sustainable career or a vocation or joy. So I think that doesn't need a school. And I think, as Mark Twain said, we don't have to confuse schooling with education. Schooling is different, education is something else.
The man surely lives, leads and teaches by example, always thinking out of the box, never afraid to try something new, convinced of taking his own path. That's Career Launcher's Satya.